So like Kathy was saying, you know, a kickoff meeting is very, very important. What I've noticed is that working with receptionists, especially when you're working with large groups of receptionists, one person comes nagged out to the office, trust me, your day is going to be turned over completely. And that's also a great time to see who it is that's nagged out and who you can impact positively, so your whole calling period doesn't go negatively. So we all know, like Kathy was saying, our break even is 1.8, 2 to 3 set per hour. That's what we're always going to aim for. And 30% is what you should be looking at. Like stats wise, the receptionists, they should be hitting 30% PR show. But as a division, our stat is 35%. That's what I always promote to all the receptionists on the conference call. I'm never going to promote 30. I'm always going to promote 35. That doesn't mean they don't hit 35. You're going to smack them on the hand, but you're always going to you're going to always ask them to do better. Cool. So receptionist kickoff meeting. This is a PowerPoint we've always used. Probably something that I'm going to edit. This is really just something I put together really quickly. And I'll probably just send it out later on once I do the tweaks. That way you guys can just edit it accordingly. So you always want to have a PowerPoint. I don't know if you guys, most of you use Keynote. I've heard it's easier. Just does everything for you, all the slides and everything. So what's hot? What do you appreciate? Is the first thing you want to do. Set the tone, like Kathy just did, showing you the video of what you did this weekend. When Kathy would go on vacation, I would always have like pictures of her from like Facebook that I put. I was like, oh, well, this is what Kathy's doing. Or this is what I did. You know, for example, my Thanksgiving, in the morning, I volunteered for 4 hours at a community center, just giving out food to those not as privileged as we are. So that's something you would want to share with your receptionist. Obviously not telling them how drunk you got last night or anything like that, but definitely just giving them updates. And it's always good to always keep them involved into what you have going on as well. You know, for example, for me, it would be, I finally applied for graduation. I'll be finishing in May. So that's awesome.
Oh, nice. Freedom.
Freedom. No. So it's that time. The first thing that I look at is region standings. Overall region PR show is 27%. So as a region, it's under standard. I mean, we should be at least as a 30 as a region. That includes all the divisions in our region. As a division, GCK is at 42%, actually making us the highest PR show percentage from September to December. We're not exactly the one with the most set, but we're the one with the most show, and we're not too far behind from being one of the top set, which is very, very exciting because PRs are pretty much our business.
42% show?
42% show. Mm-hmm.
Show to train or show to interview?
Interview. Receptionist is interview, front end. Southern Tide is shortly behind at 41%, and Lone Star with 30%. GCK stats, we have Montgomery County had 56% show, so go MBR, with 34 people set, 56% show. That means about over 17 people show, which is very decent. Sugarland with a 49% show, 67 people set. West Houston, 45% show, 233 people set. College Station, 39%, 46 people set. And Houston Galleria, above standard, with 36 with 108 set. It's very exciting. How did we compare? So obviously you would put your receptionist at Mary Lou, 36% show. This is not accurate, by the way. This is made up. This is made up. Obviously, you do it on a weekly basis, so whatever was done the week previous to that. Obviously, Kathy with 100%. I always like to do honorable mentions. You always have an assistant manager in the room or something that put in some work. I like to give them some recognition as well. So, but.
So what if some weeks it's like it's just the receptions that have a bad week? You don't want to put like 5% show.
Oh, you'll see that. You'll see. I put it there.
But do this part live. Can you do that for this slide that you just did? Pretend we're us.
Oh, okay. So let me go back. All right. So obviously, as a division, we did pretty well. Our office being in the number 3 spot. Our office being number 3 spot. Obviously, we want to make that we want to bring that up. Obviously, we did set the most amount of people, but that we are the pilot, so we definitely need to elevate, meaning that we need to be number one no matter what. So we need to lead by example pretty much. But how did we compare to the
For
rest?
you guys, you're not the pilot, but you can just be like, but our goal is to be number one, so that means we need our team here, our girls leading at the number one spot in order for us to be at the number one. Cool.
How did we compare? So number 3 spot, we have Changster with 36% show, 5 out of 14, definitely above standard. As we know, our standard is 35%, very nice. Next, we have Lorena with 40% show, 8 out of 20, very decent job, Lorena. And Kathy with an 100% show, so very nice job, Kathy, round of applause. And I do want to give an honorable mention to our assistant manager, Miss Riddy, with the 75% show. Even though she's around running the office, running a bunch of interviews, she still made some time to make some calls and set 3 studs in for interviews. So overall region non-PR show was a 35%. That's not good. So our divisional stats, non-PR, how can we become the only division above standard? So currently right now in our region, nobody is on standard for incoming. That's awful. Incoming compared to PR, incoming, what are they doing? They are currently seeking for jobs. So if they're seeking for work, why wouldn't we set them up for interviews, right? Why wouldn't they show? Does everybody agree?
Yeah.
Cool. So how can we make our division rise above the rest? How can we be the first division in the year, pretty much, to pretty much reach our 50% show mark? So 50% is what we always aim for. We always want to aim for 55, but 50% is where we should be at. And right now, we're like in the 30s, which is not good at all. How did we compare? Lorena with a 64% show, 7 out of 11, and Kathy with an 80, 4 out of 5. Very good job, Kathy. Kathy's my MVP for the week. She did an amazing job, 100% PR show. Just do the math.
Did the drum roll before?
I did. I don't know what it is.
By the way, we had a drum roll. It's like an MVP is, and it's like a sound.
Yeah, there is a drum roll.
And then it pops up.
Mhm.
It's just fun.
So I always like to choose an MVP, maybe not every week, but every other week. And my MVP will be like the first one to get all the post interviews. She'll also be like someone that I'll add more hours to, which she'll be excited about. You know, in the summers, especially, what are receptionists looking for? They're not going to school the majority of the time. They're looking for hours. You know, they want to be a part of the team the majority of the time. Your top receptionists are always going to be the ones that have the most conviction and the ones that are most engaged. So you want to not only expect things from them, but you also want to reward them for doing well. Whether it's something as silly as giving them all the post interviews after an interview, you know? And I'll give her like a little corner, or I'll give her like I'll treat her to like Starbucks on that Sunday, or whatever the case may be. Or him. So I like to do a workshop. So my workshop for today is the 5 steps of scheduling / getting a good show. Number 1 is follow the approach. Why do we follow the approach?
Because we already thought of what to say.
Because it works. You don't got to make it up, right? You don't got to wing it. What else?
So you know
No, you're
Makes you comfortable with it.
Makes you comfortable with it?
So you know why you're doing
So we can track stats.
Oh, wow.
Everyone
Okay.
uses the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's made to work, like we mentioned before, but as well, it sets ourselves aside from any other company that anybody else will apply for, right? So let's say that I'm applying for a job, right? I kind of be applying for a Chick-fil-A, let's say. What are they going to do once they get my application and they're interested in me coming in? Hey, I have an interview available at 3:30. Come in, right? Has anybody else applied for a job here? How does an interview normally work? They call you. They're like, come in tomorrow at this time. That's it. No more. Right? Here, we actually take the time to explain the position, and we take the time to actually get to know them and whatnot. So the next step is building rapport properly. Well, how do we build rapport properly? What are some of the questions we like to ask? Where do you go to school? What would you ask about school? What's your major? What year are you in? Do you know so-and-so? Perfect, especially name drop if you know of anyone that goes to school there. If somebody applies and they're going to UH, who are we gonna name? Dawson. Jude. Who else? Okay, how about HBU?
Francisco.
How about St. Thomas? Anybody that goes to
JP.
JP?
Did he go to St. Thomas? Oh, that's high school. He went to,
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So by the way, just having this conversation with their receptionist, name dropping is going to be your number one thing to go to, especially for your sharpest kids. When they're like, oh, my buddy works there, awesome. You know, they're going to be more inclined to showing up. Cool. So name dropping is good because it'll register in their heads. What I used to do, I used to make a list of everybody that I knew that went to these schools. That we were like, oh, do you know so-and-so? Oh, do you know so-and-so? Next. So building rapport properly. It's not about, oh, what I did last night or doing anything personal, but obviously building conversation. Do you know how to build if I talk to you about a car, do you know how to build conversation about a car? Philippe?
If you have a conversation about it.
Yeah, go.
About a car?
About a car.
Those brake guys don't.
What car do you have? Okay. I have a Nissan Altima Coupe.
Fancy.
2010.
What colors?
There you go. Perfect. What are you doing asking me questions? You're also keeping control of the conversation. Cool. How many cylinders? Urgency. Why do we build urgency?
So they can come in same day.
So
Perfect.
So they do it now.
Same day.
Same day.
Same day show is better show. Perfect. So what type of urgency would we build on a Sunday when we don't have an interview normally the same day?
Maybe our managers making decisions.
As soon as
Possible.
tomorrow. Perfect. I like to always mention a time frame just because if you're like, oh, okay, so I have to figure things out. I got to move things around. And also humans are natural what?
Pleasers.
Procrastinators. So we could keep leaving it to the end. We're going to keep moving it and keep moving it and keep. That's actually one of the reasons why in Vector Live, they used to have an option where you could schedule yourself. That's one of the reasons why they removed that. Like, that's not used anymore. Because people would just go back and reschedule. Go back and reschedule. And then never show up for their interview. Because they just felt that like they could come in whenever they wanted. Handling questions properly. What's the question cycle? Anybody, raise your hand.
Whenever somebody answers a question, you respond.
What question and then? So that's a great question. Answer the question, follow up the question. Cool. So what's your favorite color? Orange. Why is that your favorite color? What do you own that's orange? What's orange?
What's orange? An orange shirt from OSU.
That's not a good question cycle. Austin, what's your favorite car? Question cycle. What's your favorite car?
Do another one.
Indiana. Where were you born?
Great question. I don't know if you know where Beaumont, Texas is, but it's East Texas. Where were you born?
I was born in Spain. Have you ever been to Spain?
I haven't, but my last name actually originates from Spain. Have you ever been?
Yeah, I was born there.
Full circle.
Great job. Great job.
There you go.
And lastly, we have firming up. Do you guys firm up on your calls when you guys are setting appointments, demos? Why do you guys firm up? So you won't get rescheduled. There you go. So how would you firm up a receptionist call? Same. Hey, by the way, it was really great talking to you. Really looking forward to meeting you. Make sure to dress nicely, arrive on time, bring notebook and pen with you as a resume if you have one. By the way, the manager is going to be staying extra tomorrow just to be able to meet with you. So I want to confirm one last time. This is something you definitely can make, correct? All right, perfect. We'll see you then. Cool. So the same way you guys firm up for demos is the same way that we firm up for interviews. And by the way, This is something that you don't have to make up. This is something that I'll send in a newsletter. Every either Friday or Saturday, I'll send a newsletter, and you guys could just copy and paste that document. And even if you don't put it into the actual slides, something you print out, pass around, and you guys can just go over it. And it's something that I'll discuss on Monday as well during the conference call. Does anybody know what time the receptionist conference call is at? 8 in the morning, 8:55 a.m. every Monday. So I know a lot of you guys are helping out in your offices. If you guys can get your receptionist on there, that's great. We've had a really tough time with attendance. And I know that right now, during the month of December, we're adding more receptionists to the team, which is very exciting. So let's make sure we're getting them on there, especially for those that are taking leadership positions in your offices. And then Kathy's updates. Normally what I'll do is I'll either get Kathy or I'll get one of the assistant managers. I'll gather it myself. But for example, did we have any reps that did decent this weekend? You know, it's like, hey, Ashley, you set up.
And by the way, for you guys running your own office, it's going to be office updates.
Office updates. So it's like, Ashley, you actually set up Tevin for his interview. He did a great job. He just sold 2K his first weekend. He's on his way to hit his second promotion. And this is something that'll get them excited. And, you know, normally when that happens, when they have a person that they set up for an interview, what I'll do is I'll give that specific list to that person that set them up, because it'll get them excited about who they're calling, what they're calling, and the person that they actually spoke to. Because majority of the time, they'll remember who they spoke to, and they'll know how to relate. Something I also like to do with the PR list, and this is something I'll do, that I'll be here in the office an hour before the receptionists come in. So the receptionists come in at 1, I'll be here at 12, okay? What I do is I set up the board, whatever I need to put on the board. Number 2, I'll have their tracking sheets. Just say you guys have trackers for demos, receptionists have trackers too. The reason for it is because they need to be making at least 20 to 30 calls an hour. Now, if they're getting no one's answering, should you really get on top of them if they make 20 calls within the hour? Yes, definitely, because they should be making more calls since nobody's answering the phone. Now, one thing that tracker also helps with is that if somebody is answering and they're getting a lot of not interested, what should you address? Their approach, right off the bat. Exactly. Make sure they're following. They're building urgency.
Like whenever you brainstorm your district resident, do you think it would be key to check their data with the receptionist log and like see how, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How they're doing something, and how would you approach, like, let's say, you know what I mean, Tuesday and Wednesday, they, like, you check the receptionist log, they were there 5 hours, but what you see in there, they only scheduled like 1 person or 2 people. You know what I mean? How would you?
Well, the first thing I would address is what are they calling? So are they calling PRs? It's like if they're calling PRs and they're using paper, let's say, did you input? That's number 1. Sometimes receptionists will leave and they'll forget to input, which is something you personally need to implement from the moment you hire a receptionist. Because when you hire a receptionist, you can send them over to me all you want, but you need to follow up with them because they're not going to get all the training they need from an afternoon with me. Cool? So first of all, make sure they inputted. If they inputted, why did you only have 1 person? What was the issue? What was going on? But other than like check you should always have their tracker, especially if they're calling from paper. They need to turn in that tracker to you. You're not in the office, they need to update you. You need to have like a group me or WhatsApp or whatever it is that you use where they update you, like if it's not every hour, which they should be, but if it's not every hour at the end of their shift. Yeah, but they should definitely have at least 2 to 3 set per each hour. Now, let's say they had a whole hour where, you know, nobody answered the phone. I mean, I can understand that. They're not going to have that hour to hour every single hour.
And something you can do, and I did this before, like we have the trackers for the PR callers, but even with the regular receptionist, something that's really positive and we need to make sure we're integrating here is every time they leave a shift for the day, when they're signing out, they actually fill out a paper and leave it on your desk or on Lorena's desk that says what went well, what could have gone better, you know, how many people they spoke to that day, how many they set for interviews. And the show, I mean, it might still be interviews later, so we don't have the show yet, so we'll look at that the next morning. But they can say, show the first interview, show the second interview, waiting, whatever. But so they're aware of their numbers, and they know that you're going to look at it because they left you a note saying, like, hey, here, 6 hours I was here, I spoke to 20-something people or whatever, I set up, 14 people for interviews, and you're like, all right, they were working, they're in that range. Could they be doing more? Yeah, and then we can look at who are they calling, and kind of mix of PRs and incoming. Okay, if they're slammed with incoming and it's like on a Monday afternoon in the summer, they should be more in the at least 3 per hour, if not more. Because the phone keeps ringing, and so most of the time that's more like 5 per hour. Like there'll be times where it's a little bit more dead time, and there's times where it's like really busy. But there's always I have to call back up on, and there's PRs to set up. So it just depends on pickups. So just so you guys.
I remember the middle of the summer in Miami when it was my first summer. One of the older receptionists we had, which helped me train, she actually got another job. She had just graduated or whatever the case may be. I set like 30-something people in one shift, 8 hours. At the end of my shift, I lost my voice completely. But it's definitely possible, especially when it's call after call after call after call after call after call. There's always something to do. In Miami, it was crazy. We'd throw phones at each other because we had so much going on. And here during the middle of the summer, that's how crazy it gets too, especially if our mailers hit properly. So it is a great opportunity for you to update them on what's going on, get them integrated with the team, let them know each other, know the people that they're working with. And then I'll throw an urgency phrase that I'll print out for them as well, or I'll put on the board for them. Like, hey, with students coming down for school, we have a lot of people applying online and we're looking to fill these positions immediately. Giving priority to those are personally recommended to us just like yourself. So walk me through your schedule for the next couple of days in general, and let's see what we could work out for you. What do you have going on? So that urgency phrase is something that they would throw into their script, or I'll help them to adjust it properly as to where it would go on their script. And this is something that would help them. And I try to put urgency phrases, or at least send urgency phrases every once in a while so they can have that. Especially now during December, urgency is going to be #1 factor, especially for those that are coming down for school, because they don't know we have a 1 to 5 week semester break program. Cool. And I'll set up the goal. That would be our goal in like next week, next week or the following. Cool. And what I do is I'll set up how are we going to hit this goal. So if we're working 8 hours, you split it up, half an hour for kickoff, half an hour for break. Let's say you have 7 work hours, 7 times 2 is 14. Let's say you have 4 receptionists, 14 times 4. Maybe we won't hit 125 with 4 receptionists, but with all the AM help and everything, that should be something. And by the way, you guys,
you want to set your goal typically at 2.5 per hour of how many people are supposed to be there, like helpers. So, and you can put like 5 extra or 10 extra, depending where it lands, If I have 5 helpers for 5 hours, it's 25 hours. I'm like, all right, cool. Or you can set it at 75. Say the goal is 3 average per hour. Will we get there? I don't know, but I'm going to drive that crap. And with reps coming in, them sending us some of their friends a little faster, whatever. Or maybe you just put your goal at 65. And that's the number you guys are chasing after. But 2.5 per hour for sure.
I think it's also about doing the number, something that you can reach. You can actually reach, not something that's crazy either. But what I'll do is something that I want to do, actually, I want to send to get done, is just one of those boards, because I hate always having to do the squares on the board. And what I did, yeah, so we would do like, well, I'll do that later, but I would do like, let's say a countdown. So I do 125, 124, right? What I want to do for this summer, it's probably something that I'll get done pretty soon. I want to send to get done squares, because what I did before is they would initial on top of a number, where that way we can count down like that. So what we did also is they'll have like little figures. And I think that's a fun way. Each one has like their own icon, and I can see what they've done over the course of the day. But what we'll do as well is let's say 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Yeah, Austin. And let's say Austin set 2, Kathy set 3, and then we'll do like a $5 gift card to Starbucks or whatever the case may be. Kathy, also circle her name. She gets 1, 2 drawings for the Starbucks gift card, and he'll get 2. And believe it or not, $5 will drive your receptionist if you drive it properly. You get excited. I love Starbucks.
You just say Starbucks gift card.
Who loves Starbucks? Free Starbucks? I mean, it doesn't matter if it's $5, $2. I'll take it. So that's pretty much it. Any questions on kickoff? I think it's pretty simple. I'll fix this. I'll tweak it and I'll send it your way.
Now, driving them per hour. Do this more. So each hour, so you're saying as long as they hit 2 per hour, they get into the drawing. Everyone extra for that hour is an extra chance for that drawing. So if they set before that hour, they have 3 chances. But then just really gunning, and you've got to drive that number. Like when you're, and by the way, something easy you can do when you're busy at the office and a lot of stuff's going on is you can set alarms that go off every Sunday or whatever. Let's say Saturday. Let's say it is every half hour, and have an alarm that goes off always at these different times during that blitz time. Because that way, even if you get busy, it goes off. You're like, hey girls, 30 minutes on the next, to get your next one in, or how many more chances you get for this hour. And just them being aware and that they know that you're paying attention to that. It's like, Julie, you have 1. You gotta get at least 1 more so you make sure you're in the drawing. Hey, you already have 2. How many more can you get to get extra chances into the drawing? You have so-and-so. And that takes you 1 minute just to review that and go, all right, let's go. And you keep going, go with PDI, going with whatever you're doing, or if you're PR calling to, get back at it. But just stopping, every 30 minutes. And even I would, the one before the hour ends, I'd put it at 5 till, so 2:55. The alarm goes off. 5 minutes, let's go. Can you get 1 more in, before the hour's over? And then at 3, it's like, all right, new hour started, let's go. And now you just circle the ones that want it, and now we're into the next hour there. All right.
Yeah. How many of you guys are currently working in offices part-time? Okay. Ideally, your goal would be for you personally to set 10 PRs a week, personally. Okay. The reason for that, by the way, is that sooner you do it now, the easier it'll be for when you open your own office. And trust me, during the first 2 or 3 weeks of your branch, it's going to be you. You can ask Ashley, ask Adriana. They know. They were on the phone. They were setting up their own people for interviews. So the better you get at it now, the easier it'll become, and the more people you'll have in for interviews. That's where you're going to get your top people. The first 2 or 3 weeks of the summer, that's going to be like prime for you. That's going to help you build. So that's pretty much it.
How many would you set, say for a 125 yard, how many would you want the same day? Roughly?
You always want to aim for 50% same day. That's the goal. Yeah. The daily goal is 50%, and the weekly goal is 35%.
Your goal is 100%.
100%. Yeah. I mean, if you can set everybody same day, that's great. A standard is 50.
It's 50 plus. If I can get everyone freaking coming today, let's do it. Like Culver and Riddy were in front of me the other day. I was talking to someone on the phone, and the interview was in 30 minutes. It was within 30 minutes. I just looked at the time. I was like, hey, actually, I know this is really last minute. I still have a spot available in 30 minutes. I said, are you available to just head over right now? She said, yeah, I can head over right now. Where do I go? And she came in. She was one of the girls I signed yesterday who's set for training next week. Super excited. So, don't, next interview available. You want them in ASAP because then the chance of them showing is way higher. All right, they're coming in. If you just talk to them like, I'll be there in 20 minutes, what's going to stop them from coming? The only thing would be like an accident or something if they were scheduled, like if there was something crazy, but they're not going to have enough time to get negged out by this person or get accepted for a different job. Because don't forget this too, especially in the summer, when you have people that are applying for work, there's IAPs and stuff, and you go applying for work, they're not just applying to your job.
Yeah.
Right? They're applying to multiple jobs. So I want them to do it as soon as possible before they get an offer somewhere else and then they got a job.
And we're not the only recruiting company there is.
No kidding. When I applied online, a year and a half ago, they got back to me in 5 minutes after I sent my online application.
Us?
No, it was
Wow.
no. This was back when. Yeah, it was back when I started, June 2014.
So Vector called you in 5 minutes?
Yeah, I put in my
That's
application.
good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was like,
That's what I'm saying. It's
that's what I'm talking about.
Caitlin's receptionist. There's I was in. It was awesome.
No, the sooner the better.
Yeah.
That's another thing,
I was very
something I was
impressed.
talking to Miranda about, in her office. I do test calls. I do random test calls and IAPs. I send test IAPs and stuff like that. You're supposed to respond to your IAPs within the first 15 minutes. In her office, they didn't always have receptionist coverage. They would put an alarm every 15 minutes. Make that a habit. Make that a habit.
Any other questions? All right,
All
biggest
right, guys.
takeaways from this. Biggest takeaways that things you didn't know, things you're excited to implement. What did you guys take from this?
Just having a standard in the office that you're currently working part-time with now, it's good to build momentum for when the summer finally does come around. Because if you're trying to start cold turkey, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm actually have a job here that I need to do. You know, so.
Well, I mean, for example, 125, that's a number we used to hit like in Miami fall, spring. Like I used to know in the summers, we're aiming for 500, 600. You know, 125 is something you could definitely do in a week. 100. 100 is an easy number that you can hit, especially if you have, like, you're fresh. You got brand new names and you got so many people that you can call and you can set up for interviews, you know, and now with Facebook recruiting and everything, by the way, December 5th, I'm having the receptionist meeting. That's something that I'm implementing into my meeting, you know, Facebook recruiting, you know, Instagram recruiting, whatever it is that however we can get people, that's what we want to do. We constantly need new faces.
Cool. Other takeaways? Ahas, light bulbs.
Just consistently pulling up all the stats, you know, for the region and the division.
And it's also good for you. It's also good for you because that way you know where you're at.
I really like the make a list for your name dropping.
Mm-hmm.
Just have a list of schools and all
Yeah.
the kids that you
That's
recruited.
huge.
I think that's like
What we did is we did a game for our private schools, and what we did is like, how many people can we name drop during this Sunday? So we were focusing primarily on our private school kids, and we were name dropping, and whoever would name drop, they would get a point, or whatever school they went to. So they got them super excited, and it's super simple to get people excited. You guys know how to do this. So it was a lot of fun. You know, I love when there's a lot of motivation in the office. There's a lot of ringing of bells. There's a lot of noise. Everybody's like pumping each other up and everything. And I know you guys like that too. You know, the more people, the merrier. So, anybody else?
I just like driving the receptionist and actually be like, hey, do your job and like here's a little extra, like the Starbucks things.
You know, something I did to make sure I got receptionists in the door before their shift started. What we did is we did tallies for every time they were 15 minutes early, and then we would do like a drawing for something silly, you know, or we would pay them for those 15 minutes for them to like do whatever, check their Facebook, check their phones, whatever they had to do. But once their time started, they were on the phone. It wasn't like, oh, let me get myself set up. No. It was like, I'm ready to go.
Incentive to get this. So it's
An
kind of
incentive.
like base pay incentive for receptionists. The incentive is like Starbucks and all this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Find out what they're, you know, have them fill out, you know, better to know you sheets. Like, what's their favorite soda? What's their favorite candy? You know, something silly I thought that might cost you 60 cents at the Walgreens, the corner Walgreens.
They're more efficient. It's not worth it.
Yep.
I think the team meeting part, that's like really exciting. Because something I used to like team meetings.
Well, exactly. What Kathy used to do during team meetings is dollar make you holler or whatever. So the receptionist would walk around with dollars in their hand. Hey, get me a friend on the phone. If I set them up, I'm giving you $1. And they would love that. Receptionists would love that.
Dollar make you holla.
Receptionists love that, and you know, and they want to stay for team meetings, and they want to go out, and they want to do all that.
Yeah, and when you guys might not all have the funds, and this is where it's cool to have extra startup, because to me that's a great investment. Like I'll spend $20 to get 20 PRs set for tomorrow, no problem. You know,
They have rep-driven PRs.
yeah,
which-
right. They talk to their friend like, oh, yo, here's my boss, and you're like, hey, what's going on? And they're the easiest. It takes 2 seconds to set up, and like, I'm like, hey, yeah, we're looking to fill some spots. You know, Tevin had
You're
I told
sharpest
Tevin to give
too.
you a call because he said that you might be interested. I definitely love to meet you. What's it? And they're like, oh yeah, tomorrow. You know, you just like set those guys up, and they show at a very high rate. It's like you already talked to them. They're like ready to go. So any of the ones we set up, boom, we set. Huh?
They should be done it.
Can you check on the first door there?
You know, another thing is that, especially during the summers, you know, the region does different incentives, you know, like how many PRs you set, you get extra incentives. So more hours, you know, silly things like that are always fun to do. So.
Promise is the last question.
You don't have to stop.
Okay, keep
What
up.
is the efficiency again? I know it's like
2.5
2.5.
or below.
I like that you had a slide like for the reps and how they did for the week, like the top ones, and then you had a slide for like the MVP.
Yeah, we really liked MVP in our office, especially because they got the post interviews. Post interviews, receptionists will jump for those. Fresh PRs, what? I would jump for them all the time. So.
Fresh PRs are great. You just
Fresh
like
PRs are
book
awesome.
interviews right after. It's like leapfrog. The demo, yeah.
This is why the more PRs you guys get in an interview, the better it is. You know, these are people that you'll set the same day for the later interview. These are the people that you'll finish your 6:45 interview, 7 o'clock interview, and we'll have them set up for the next morning. Any more questions? Ask away. You guys only get me once a month. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Any other questions or things that you liked?
Cool, guys.
Okay, you said it was a 2.5, but is it between a 1 and a 2.5?
2.5 or below. 0.
So 0 is, but 0 wouldn't be good.
No, it is.
0 is good.
Yeah, because it's the lower it is, the better, because that means that they're getting.
I thought 0 would mean that they didn't do anything.
Calls per launch. It's
Calls
impossible
for
to have
launch.
0.
Yeah, it's impossible to have 0, but it would
They
be
launched
great.
they launched
If
without
there's
doing
no
phone calls.
difference, 0 difference would be for every one person you set, you launched one. It'd be incredible. There's a 0.
Yeah.
So as close as you can get to that,
Better
I'd
it
be
is.
fired up every
Yeah.
PR I set launch.
And actually, learn how to look at the. Well, I mean, I can send this out, but if you learn how to read the stats, it'll tell you what percentage in the company they are. So, like, the other day, I got an email from Brian. He's like, "You're in the top 5% of the company." I'm like, "Well, I guess I don't count," but it's awesome to know that, like, oh, are they, top 5%? Are they top 10? And that gets them very excited. It's like, hey, you're top 10. Can you get to top 7%? Can you get to top 5%? And I always, by the way, when you do get your receptionist, if you're not part of the Facebook group and the GCK receptionist, you guys should go follow that now on Facebook. Have yourself on it. Do updates on there, and I like to have all the receptionists on there as well. So. Cool. Anything else?
All right, cool.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Please, I can use your help.